This is the Podcast Business News Network. Oh, I get super excited anytime we have a psychic on with us. And I found an amazing one with energy you're not going to find anywhere else. But then again, when you think about it, the sun harnesses all the energy we need. And she just happens to be Sunshine. That is her name, the pink-haired psychic medium. And she joins us today. Welcome, Sunshine. How are you?
Hi, Steve. I am absolutely wonderful today. Thank you for having me.
So great to have you on here. And there's so much to talk about because you offer a lot in terms of helping people enlighten their spiritual journey, where it could be a reading, it could be a workshop, it could be so much more. What are you hearing from people now, Sunshine? When they come to you, what are they looking for? What are they kind of dealing with right now?
Oh, wow. That's a really fabulous question. What are people? I find that people usually come to me for one of two reasons. One, they literally want to leverage and use my gifts. They've got questions. They want clarity. They want healing. They want comfort. And so that's about 50% of the folks. And they just have something in their life that they're trying to navigate and work through. But the other 50%, which is probably slowly creeping up at 60, and I'm even say closer to 70% around the last 3 months, are folks that are wondering how they work with these gifts, how they unlock their psychic abilities or their own intuition or their healing gifts, which has been a completely wonderful yet surprising reality for me. Yeah, that's probably what I'm seeing come to me thus far. People wanting to wake up their own gifts.
So you're seeing more and more people that, well, let's rewind here. I believe that we all have some kind of intuition, and there are others who have figured out, like yourself, how to tap into that and how to listen to it. And we all can learn how to do that if you have the right teacher. Am I getting that right?
100%. I believe every single one of us have psychic abilities. We have the ability to heal. We have magic running through our veins. And most of the time, there are a handful of folks that I can just show them where it's showing up in them, and they're able to run with it. And then there are other folks that are like, teach me how to do more. Mm-hmm. Yeah, teach me how to do more. Mm-hmm.
Do you find that people get hooked, once they realize, yeah, I can actually do this, or I figured this out, that they just want to learn so much more?
This is me from a personal perspective, and then any of the clients that I'm working at. Once you step onto this path, your appetite for knowledge and in that spiritual realm is insatiable. And the amount of things that there are to learn. I mean, I've been on this path for well over 25 years, and I still learn things on a daily basis that can sometimes shock and awe me. Yeah.
Mm. And you know what? I hear the same exact thing. I witness the same thing. People who are healers or learn to be healers always have a thirst to learn more. It's just kind of the way it is.
I don't. There's so much vast knowledge in the universe as a whole. I often have people ask me, what's the purpose of life? And I've often said, they hate the answer, but it's to live, right?
Yep.
To live. And I think we just added on a second one, which is to live and to learn. I always say live and experiencing it, but it's really to live and to learn, right? And that is the meaning and the purpose of life. So yeah, if you are on this path, if you're drawn to be a healer, a psychic, anything in that spiritual realm, the probability that you're going to have that insatiable urge to just devour everything you possibly could get your hands on is, that's probably one of the most common traits that I see.
So let's talk about the mediumship that you offer, and we'll talk about mentoring and how to learn how to do this. You do general readings and mediumship readings. What's the difference between the two?
Yeah, that's a good question because I often have to explain that. So I don't know that everybody will understand this. Some folks will. As a medium, right, you're going to be leveraging your psychic abilities, right? As a medium, you're connecting to other spirits, energies, entities, things that are outside of the individual client, right? Often ancestors, spirit guides, maybe even animal spirits. I had a conversation this morning with a client, aliens, That's always an interesting one.
Hmm.
Right? So a medium is able to pick up energies or entities that are outside of the individual client that you're actually, and you're using all of your own psychic abilities to do that. A psychic, just in general, like if you're doing a psychic reading, you're typically going to be reading about that one individual and various areas in their life. And so every psychic has the potential to be a medium, but not every psychic will choose to engage with those external energies or energy forces. And every medium is also a psychic, but every medium may not want to refer to themselves as psychic because they don't care to do the general type of inquiry type of question. I'm hoping that answers.
Well, to break it down even more, the difference between a psychic and a medium, for those that really aren't sure, what is it?
Yeah. A psychic is going to provide you more guidance on your life. A medium is going to provide you answers and clarity around entities outside of your life, your ancestors, your guides, your animal spirits, or any other energies that may be associated with you. So guidance on your life versus guidance on external forces outside.
So I've heard, I'm trying to remember what it was, that you can be a psychic medium, but you can't be a medium psychic or something like that. I don't know if I have that right, but I'm trying to remember now that we're talking about this. Does that make any sense? I am a huge rule breaker. I don't like anybody telling me what it is that I can do or can't do. And so it's usually a personal choice when it comes to a psychic medium. Every psychic could be a medium. Every medium may not choose actually to be a psychic as well. Meaning, don't get me wrong. I'm usually going to be connecting to other people's loved ones and providing comfort or clarity, and providing answers from their ancestors and things of that nature, and helping people who have lost folks. That in itself is a very, energetically activating type of work. Versus, I may not find my calling to be just answering about people's love life or their own health or their career or their finance, right? That might not be my jam. So you can do other. I'm not a big fan of anything like, every psychic is a medium or can't. Like, I believe everybody gets to define their own path in life. But I do find that there are some psychics that do not care to engage in their mediumship abilities. That's their own personal reason. And some mediums, the same thing, do not care to engage in just providing psychic. What's your preference, Sunshine, or do you have one?
I have learned to kind of turn over my life to my guides quite a few years ago. I'm a recovering alcoholic, and so that was one of my big lessons. I don't have a preference. It's what does my client need, right? It's what does the individual on the other side need. And so sometimes people will sit down with me and we are literally connecting to grandma or their husband or their father or their brother. And I know that is what I'm meant to do. And it's like my soul just sings and it's filled with joy at being able to provide that comfort and healing. And there are other times there are clients that, are leveraging me. I've one recently that was facing one of the layoffs, got caught in these layoffs, and they were uncertain what opportunity to really explore next. And so I adored helping them be able to do that. And the response 30 days later was, thank God we reviewed that because I missed a train wreck with one of the offers. It completely fell apart afterwards. So, whatever my clients need, I'm here to bring comfort, clarity, guidance. I'm here to share my gifts. I don't have a preference. I'll tell you where I learned the most, because I have an insatiable appetite to learn. I learned the most by opening up past lives, Akashic Records.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's go down that road. In the last year, I've started learning more and more about Akashic Records. For anybody that doesn't know, what are they?
So the Akashic Records, the way that I explain it, it's this belief. It comes from a philosophical school from many, many, many hundreds of years ago. It's this belief that there is a written record of every soul's past, present, and future. I always like to equate it to being the unbelievably biggest choose-your-own-adventure book for your soul. Right? So everything possible is written in there. And so for me, the way I've actually explained it, every psychic is actually accessing the Akashic records of an individual, but they might not realize it. That's how you're able to get the information that you need. You're actually tapping into those records when you're sitting down with a client. When you're intentionally leveraging and using, they are very, very helpful in opening them up. And that my primary purpose is to look at past lives and understand things that have happened in folks' past lives in order to provide healing, cutting contracts, maybe clarity. Sometimes we'll just find like, oh, you were actually one of the witches burned at the Salem witch trials, and that's why you're so afraid of stepping into your magical powers in this lifetime, right? The Akashic Records are incredible, and the amount that I learn opening up that Choose Your Own Adventure book every time, unbelievable.
Is it fair enough to say that the Akashic Records are things that have happened, and of course, things that have happened, no matter where, sometimes hold clues to the future, but there's no future stuff in the records, right? It's all past.
It's actually past, present, and future. So you can look, and so the interesting thing is you think about the path that's ahead of you. So the way that I recently explained it to a client this week, they were asking for a couple of different scenarios, and I could look into their book, and I could say there are 25 different paths you can take in that topic. And every single one of those paths is going to have a different outcome for you. So you can look, right, and you can say in the future, but trying to have somebody navigate, that's why I'm not the biggest fan. I was just talking with somebody this morning. I'm not the biggest fan of trying to predict the future, right? Reading energy in the future and saying, like, these paths are really high vibration. If you were to go down this angle, right, you're going to be in a higher vibrational path. You're going to probably like the outcome a lot better. It's going to be more happy and joy-filled for you. But yeah, they have that record is past, present, what's currently going on and happening within the life, as well as future.
So I'm just going to throw out there, if you ever feel anything, get anything on me to use me as an example, feel free. I'm fully transparent. I got nothing to hide. I'm just throwing it out there. And
well, we've got a handful of these episodes, Steve, and that may happen. I got to tell you this. When I was exploring and we were kind of like talking about getting these set up, I stumbled upon your name and I got a hit. I didn't know what it was, and I was like, do I know this guy? Has he been in the Detroit market? I'm in the Metro Detroit area. I'm like, no. I'm like, why am I knowing this name? And I was just told, like, you know. I've asked other people. They're like, I have no clue who Steve Harper is. I'm like, well, I know somehow. So, yes, we very well may find something as we continue to get to know each other better.
Bring it on. So, and just always know that I'm not Steve Harvey. I'm Steve Harper. People say that all the time.
Did I say Steve Harvey?
You did not, but I just I threw it out there.
Oh.
No, all good.
I was like, oh my gosh.
That's
all right.
So, you as a mentor, you help people, and when I say mentor, that is call it class in session. Do I have that right?
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. Mm-hmm.
And where does how does that start?
How does it start?
Yeah.
Or how did it start?
No, how does it start?
Oh, for like the individual that was coming across, was interested in engaging in it. So I established, it came out, I gave birth to it last year. It's called Illuminate the Unschool of Magical Psychic Arts. We've been working on it in the background. And I like to call it an unschool is because it's what I teach is really determined by the folks that are in it. I have, as I told you, I'm an insatiable knowledge, thirst for knowledge. So whatever I learn, I always love to be able to share. I find that my learning comes a lot better, actually, when I can share. And so it starts really by somebody just enrolling and jumping right in, feet first, with the various different, activities, learning sessions, topics, and things that we're exploring. And the cool part is we touch on psychic abilities, we touch on healing abilities, and we even touch on that.
And what type of, call it, program, curriculum is it? Is it a one and done? Is it a class, a workshop?
No, it is. So I consider this, and I've struggled with this for a little bit, and I went back and forth on what to refer to it as. And so I've been referring to it as a program. It's a 12-month long program. So if somebody does walk in, we kind of break it up into like 4 semesters just to be able to define with people, like as you venture into about every 3 months, you're going to be able to start to see changes and transformations that are happening. We operate about 7 workshops or like working events every month. They are virtual. A big thing for me is to make sure that anything that I offer is accessible to anybody throughout the world, really. So not only do we have these workshops live, they're all recorded, so anybody can go in. If they miss one, they're able to go in and watch the replay and kind of engage with us. And it's pretty cool, too. I adore it very much that we have a community. For those that are familiar, there's software called Slack that allows for communication. So we actually all join each other in there and enable, outside of those workshops, able to kind of ask questions, engage with me, leave little messages back and forth, or even share some of the, like, some people might think it's weird I'm using this term, but the little, like, miracles that show up in their lives because of the work that they're doing. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. When you're working with somebody, do you detect their energy? Like, do you see or feel the energetic blocks? Mm-hmm. And can that get in the way of your intuition or, call it psychic ability, and that needs to be maybe removed?
Yeah, absolutely. We are often, our own worst enemy when it comes to our own journey. We tend to put a lot of limits on ourselves. Many people throughout life have defined themselves by external, maybe like what their parents taught them to be, what the society expected of them, what maybe even, I don't know, their first husband or first partner thought was supposed to make this perfect life. And so if there's things that are truly not aligning you to live this, I always like to refer to it as like in a high vibrational state, in this very like this world that is filled with love and peace and hope, right? These really beautiful emotions. So if there are things that are blocking your own energy from allowing you to be in that existence, absolutely it's going to impact your own psychic abilities. It's going to impact your healing abilities. I often go into Reddit and answer questions just every day, a handful of them in different topics, to be able to share some of the knowledge. One that came through recently was from someone around like, hey, am I a medium? And, we went back and forth, and they said, I've got some mental health issues. And I very clearly, I said, you need to work with your mental health issues first before you start exploring these other gifts, right? So yeah, absolutely. Energetic blocks can prohibit your ability to really leverage and use your psychic abilities to be able to step into any calling of healing. Those of us that are in this business, in this space, are typically investing just as much time with their clients as they're investing on investing just as much time on their self in their own journey as they are with their individual clients.
And I'm 1,000% Sunshine agree with you. I feel that I have some intuition. Somebody said to me today, you're an empath. And I don't think I'm an empath. Maybe I am. I don't know. But I do know that energetic blocks get in the way. Like I know I can tap into something, but I know sometimes there's stuff in the way. Stuff gets in your head. You're thinking about stuff. And once you're able to clear that stuff, and it's probably just what we're talking about, it's probably just that energy, stuck energy that, and yes, I've done Reiki, even in the last, month or so, chakra balancing and all of that. However, we got a lot of stuff. We all deal with a lot of stuff that can get in the way, right?
Yeah. And so, 100%, same thing. I had somebody reach out again, and they're asking about keeping all of their things open, and they're like, I meditate. I occasionally do, Reiki. And I'm like, have you done it every day on yourself for the last 30 days? I said, once you've done that, then come back and let's have another conversation, right? Because, our energy, it's like our body, right? We literally have to eat every day, have to sleep every day, have to consume water every day in order to keep our physical body functioning in the way that it needs, and the nutrients that we have to feed it. Like now we get even more complicated. Not just food, but like nutritious food. Your physical body will not operate well if you are not tending to those things. In the same way that your energetic body, that body that is required to connect you to the divine, to your intuition, to your psychic abilities, if you are not cleansing it, nurturing it, feeding it good things, like good energy, high vibrational energy, it too will suffer, right? It's a consistent thing, not just a once in a while thing.
Wow. I've never heard it put that way. And it's so important when you think about it. You nourish yourself, by eating hopefully the right foods, or at least you try to, but never thought of it in the way that you need to energetically, because you're going to have a problem there if you put garbage energy in, or you let that energy kind of control you. Then you're not going to move forward, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I find that people have this calling. They have even the intuition about that. They will often, though, fight it. And the image that keeps popping up in my mind is being involved in an unhealthy, energetic work environment, or an unhealthy, energetic, friends or social circle, right? And so you keep putting yourself in that. You keep getting all of these pangs of oh, I don't want to go in. I don't want work. Oh God, my anxiety overwhelms me. On the Sunday scaries set in, and I can't. And yet you're so paralyzed of making change because you can't even envision. You lived in these energetically disgusting environments for so long. You can't even envision at that point what happiness and joy would feel like. Right? And so people are intuitively being called. Their energetic is dragging and low, and they're experiencing anxiety and depression and fear. So that's the energetic body's way of saying that something needs to change, is when you're feeling guilt, shame, fear, anxiety, right? And that's your energetic body saying, you've got to change something, you're not taking care of me. And when you don't make those changes and continue, you can spiral and end up in a very dark place. Or a lot of people will face it and take the changes that they need, right, and learn along the way. So, yeah, your energetic body needs just as much care as your physical.
You shared a few minutes ago some struggles that you had a few years ago, and confronted them in terms of alcohol. Can we talk about that? Would that be all right?
Absolutely. It's a big part of my story.
Yeah, and it seems that all of what we're talking about helped you get through a lot of that, right?
Oh, yeah, it did. Yes, it absolutely did. As far as my recovery story, and anybody that's ever, I share a little bit of on the website too, and various different things. But 2019, October of 2019, that I'd hit my rock bottom. I had already spent 10 months of 2019 trying to stop drinking. October 9th of 2019 that I finally admitted I was an alcohol, and I actually couldn't stop drinking without. And so I did. I went into AA. AA in itself, everybody has their own personal opinions of it. But I will tell you, the piece of AA that I will always support is the community behind it, and not feeling as though you're alone. That was a big piece. And here in the Metro Detroit area, I actually live in a city that has a very, very diverse religious background. And so I would sit in these tables at AA, and I would hear people talk about, God or Allah or, whoever. And everybody was very respectful for it. And so the AA says it's a spiritual program. So I'm doing I'm crying every day for 90 days for one, right? To talk about some incredible physical transmutation that was happening during that point. But I'm also exploring and waking up for the first time to go, what is my spirituality? What does that mean? What does spirituality mean to me? What are my beliefs? What am I aligned to? And so over that, it was like I've identified as a witch since I was 16. I've worked with energy and studied energy pretty much since I was 17. I've had psychic abilities and have used my mediumship skills since I was 19. And I'm starting to realize all of these things are proponent of my own spiritual path and my spiritual belief. And so it was October, I decided I hit rock bottom, walked into AA. 4 months later, January 20th of 2020, mind you, 3 months before we all shut down, basically, I agreed to start offering free readings online as a way of, for me, my version of going to church and giving back. So once a week, I would jump on Facebook and I'd offer free readings for an hour as a way for me to really feed my own soul and my spirit. And story after that has been some of the most beautiful and heartbreaking times in my entire life.
Wow. I can't believe we're out of time. I looked up. I'm like, all right, I want to ask her this. I want to ask her that. And we're out of time. But I do want to I do want to throw this question to you based on what you just said and the timeline and all of that. Do you believe that things truly happen for a reason?
I believe that everything happens for a reason. We do not always understand why,
Yep.
but if we trust in the universe, we will eventually find out that it's worth it.
Yep. And if I were to say it, I'd say it the exact same way. It's all about the universe, and you have to have trust in it and also yourself. Fantastic talking with you. What's your website, Sunshine?
You can find me at www.sunshinereading.com. You can also hit the contact form on there. You can drop me an email. I monitor my own email box and will until I decide to retire way in the future. But yeah, that's how you can catch me.
I don't think you're going anywhere anytime fast, because it sounds like...
Well, I go all sorts of places, Steve.
No.
It's just not always on this physical plane.
No. I'm talking about retiring, because you have a passion for what you're doing, and you love helping people and sharing your knowledge and gifts with them. So yeah, it's all right there. SunshineReadings.com if you're looking for any type of reading, and also if you're looking for a mentor and want to learn how to do this. Sunshine, fantastic talking with you today. Really appreciate it.
Same, Steve. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I believe we're doing this again. So
yeah, I'm looking forward next time we get a chance to get together.
Awesome. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Sunshine. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things, like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.